Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a new Cats discussion. We are going to be talking today with Thirsty Fox. We are talking about anarcho-capitalism, so it should be very, very interesting. Sorry, boomer little moment. But apart from that, yeah, Mr. Fox, would you like to introduce yourself? Because most of these reprobates know who I am anyway.
Hey, I'm Thirsty Fox, aka Iron Ancap, and today we're gonna be talking about anarcho-capitalism.
I'm not doing anything. I haven't been talking to him and wouldn't be able to say that's not his voice. Honest. Yes, he's a Thirsty Fox. He's an anarcho-capitalist. Yes, sorry, I completely destroyed his introduction. Please carry on.
It's fine. So how is this gonna go out? Like, are you gonna be asking me questions or?
Either or. What I'm going to do it as a little bit of a discussion. I'm going to lead with some questions. You can counter with some questions. I don't want it to be a debate because I don't really see the point in debating. Because we're not going to change each other's minds. We're not going to really change the people's minds in there. But the most important thing is getting the ideas out and understanding what the ideas are. So if I've got some reservations, which I do about anarcho-capitalism, I can ask you what your opinions are on those ideas without getting too heated where you think I'm trying to attack you or the idea. And I don't mean you in general, just that's the way that general people are.
Yeah. So what anarcho-capitalism really is like, well, anarchy with capitalism. And like what our first principles are basically the non-aggression principle or aka natural law. So what natural law or the non-aggression principle is
start with natural law, because natural law is definitely different to the NAP.
From what I heard and like looked at all like the articles I've been reading, there's different forms of natural law. How I hear it, like I hear the NAP and natural law being compared to the same thing. I guess it's semantics.
But that's the thing, though. They're not. The NAP is a non-aggression principle, where natural law is a set of laws that you inherently think and know that are set in motion and set in stone almost, to the obviously not killing, not raping, not pillaging, so on and so forth, with other aspects of natural law. That's not the same as the non-aggression principle. Natural law is supposed to be law that's been set by the universe-ish, and the NAP is set by humans. So there is also a difference in the semantics in that.
Yeah, but there are different definitions of the natural law. I guess I'm just going to call it for the non-aggression principle for now. So just to make it easier, I don't want to argue semantics because that's dumb. But
I take that as a personal insult. God damn you.
So all it is just believing aggression is inherently wrong, and the only times where aggression is justified is if somebody's committing aggression against you or someone else. Yeah, so that's our first principle. And if you want, Shane Killian made a really good video on like atheism and natural law, or yeah, libertarian and atheism. That's what the video is called. So, what would you ask me?
Well, first of all, I suppose that the easiest thing to ask you would be something along the lines of what sort of forms of hierarchy. Now, I understand that the go-to is, oh, well, it'd just be a hierarchy. I know different people would have different aspects of what their levels of hierarchy would be. So a personalized question to you, you don't speak for all ANCAPs. What level of hierarchy would you have in your society if you had a clean slate and you were leader?
Just like business hierarchy, or aka voluntary hierarchies, where you know how businesses work, right? Like yeah. So it would be very small hierarchies, like, I don't know, across the land of Ancapistan. That rhymes. So yeah, the form of hierarchies would be like they would be very small, and and they're voluntary. So if you work in like a, I don't know, a business, and your boss is treating you like shit, then you can just easily say, hey, I'm going to go over to this other business that won't treat me like shit.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I still don't understand what the level of hierarchy is in there. Does that mean that the privatizations of the businesses would be the ones that not necessarily dictate laws, but would enforce natural law, or in this case, the NAP?
They, you can't really enforce the NAP. It's really just I guess you can make like a certain rules in like your business, but like what kind of so hold on, what do you mean by like certain levels of hierarchies?
Well, for instance, say for instance that you have a corner shop. Well, obviously, you understand what I mean by a corner shop.
Yeah.
Say you have a corner shop and you have that compared to a multi-billion-pound bank, for instance. What levels of enforcement would that corner shop be able to have compared to the enforcement of the bank? Because obviously the bank earns more money and has more people. So by the idea of anarchy and the hierarchy systems that would be put in place, in other words, more people that work in a place would technically have more power because they would have more influence over the smaller shop. How would you be able to protect that shop from being bought out? Or how would you stop the bank from just trying to take over?
I guess you just boycott. I mean, that we already see this in like certain capitalistic systems. Like if like a certain company is doing something that we don't like, we usually just boycott. For instance, if we have private banks, then we could just easily say, hey, I'm not going to use your bank. I'm going to use your competitor if you buy out a certain business, if that makes
Sure.
sense to you.
No, I completely understand. It still doesn't. I'm trying to understand because I want to understand what the level of hierarchy is. Because obviously, with the systems that we have with governmental systems, which obviously has its flaws, and I admit that it has its flaws, but at least you know who's in charge. With a system that you are proposing yourself at this moment, I don't know who's in charge. And I know that you would go, well, everybody individually is, but collectively, who would be that you to go to sort out disputes, for instance?
Oh, so you're asking who's going to be in charge of, I guess, the land, the
Not
business?
necessarily land, because if you had a land, then you would have a state, and if you have a state, then you would then not have an anarcho-capitalism. So just in charge of the area. We'll just go with that. We won't go into the semantics of statism.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, uh, so before I get into that, let me just say how property rights actually work real quick. And like, say if I like build a house and nobody built the house like before I did, so I own that like piece of land.
Sure.
So for you to own like a piece of land, you would have to be maintaining it.
Sure.
So, and if a business decided to, well, build a business and I decided to work for them, then they're going to be in charge of me.
Mm,
But they can't but they can't really use aggression against me. But the most that they can do,
mm.
if I didn't break the NAP, they can kick me off their property, say, don't come back.
Okay, that's fine. How do you determine which borders are which? Now, by borders, I don't mean national borders, obviously. I mean, how do you determine which is your land and which is their land? Where does your land begin and their land start? Because how do you work that out without somebody that's regulating that?
So how I see it is basically if you put a house like on a grass field and then somebody decided to put that house like kind of next to yours, not too close, I would say he still has a right to that land. So I guess if you have like a fence like squaring around, again, it still has to be maintained, I guess, with like
No,
so.
sure. No, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm meaning, though. You
Oh,
can
okay, yeah.
you could put up a house. You could put up your fence. But what is to determine how far that fence is away from your house? How do you determine how much land comes with that house and vice versa for the businesses?
So, hmm. I, oh, jeez. I can't answer that one. I
Okay, no, that's fine.
apologize.
Yeah, no,
I apologize.
no, that's absolutely fine. Not a problem. I'm not in here to get a got you or anything else. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
What we can do then is, what about going on to crime? Because I know that you were interested before about privatizing prisons and police forces or security.
Oh,
So,
I'm actually not for privatized
okay, elaborate on that then.
prisons. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I don't think prisons or privatized prisons are justified. The only instance if they're justified is if somebody kidnapped you for
Mhm.
however long you're kept in that prison for. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So
No, I
you would have to
understand.
be kidnapped yourself to like force you to send that like criminal to prison. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, obviously, you're not into the idea of obviously prisons or sort of imprisonment at all. So, what sort of forms of punishment would you advocate for, say, for instance, theft? Because it doesn't break the nap, because it's not aggression towards you to nick something from you.
So basically, what like the form of punishment is say if I take, I don't know, $10 from you, I would have to like either you have to cut like you have the right to like go take that $10 back, like I guess like come to my house, or yeah, you have like whatever you have the right to use aggression to get whatever you got back, but you can't use any more aggression than that. So I guess it's
How do you enforce that aggression? Who regulates how much aggression that you would be allowed to use on me if I stole from you?
I guess hmm I guess if somebody sees that you're using, like, I don't know, say if I stole the $10 from you and then you're torturing me or something, if somebody knows about it, I guess they're gonna come and I don't know, stop you. uh
Mhm.
yeah.
No, don't get me
I
wrong. I can
again,
understand.
I know I just know the basics of
No,
the
sure. No, I
yeah.
completely understand. I do completely understand. The point that I was trying to ascertain was that, okay, I've come to you, I've been able to steal something off of you. We've already had the scuffle. You've tried to stop me. You haven't been able to, or vice versa.
Mhm.
And I've been able to nick something off of you. I've now left the premises. I've now left the area. How do you regulate how you get that money back? And if you can't regulate it, as in there's no one to regulate it, what's there to stop my family from then going after you for recourse of what I've done to you?
A simple answer is I guess self-defense or hire private security. Either
Sure.
or. So
Sure.
like
Okay, let's go with the private security. Let's go down that road.
yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to badger you into points. I'm believe it or not, I don't want to say it too openly, but I'm trying to help you in your own way,
Yeah.
which is, let's take private security for instance. Say I've now come towards you and I want to steal off of you, but private security physically stops me from doing that. How much regulatory power are they allowed to use against me? And if they're allowed to use that power, what's the difference from that private security force from a national security force?
So I guess the difference is you're not forced to associate with the national security force. So I guess
Let's
it's
take away that bit away. Let's say that
okay.
let's say that you don't need to pay taxes for the national force. So
Okay.
let's just compare the two forces. Both of them have in this hypothetical, both of them have the same regulatory power, but one is actually regulated where you could go to a higher power and actually sort that regulation out, and initially, in some aspects, maybe not always, but could take them to court or have some form of justice. Who regulates your private security force?
Uh I guess people I don't really yeah, the people, I guess, if the private security force is doing something shitty, then I guess another competitor has like the right to like go stop them or boycott or whatever. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Let's take that instance as our little thought process. My security force now is going to defend me against your security force. I can now hire another 15,000 people to my security force because I'm rich. You've now got only another 5,000 that you can ascertain because you have a farm. Does might make right, or does the actual process of who is wrong matter more in that situation?
I guess it. I guess how I see it is okay. Yeah. So I guess how I see it is so I guess it does matter in that instance. So say I guess, and we see this all the time, and with private businesses also, like if a company with a good reputation and they're making good products does something shitty, they usually lose a lot of stock. No matter how good the product is, if like something is wrong with it and a competitor has like something better to offer, then usually people are going to choose that other product than the company with the good reputation.
Sure, no, I completely understand. But at this moment in time, it doesn't matter about the reputation of any products or people buying from me or you at this point in time, because we've already accumulated the wealth that we already have to be able to try and solve this dispute that we have between ourselves. I've stolen some money off of you and you want it back. So how do we go from there? I've got more money than you in this instance. So how do I have somebody stop me from taking over the rest of your stuff because you're now forming aggression towards me, even though I originally stole off of you, that you're coming at me with a private security force and I have to defend myself?
I guess if I'm using like too much force, then you have the right to stop me. But no, like
I would have the right to stop you anyway, because there's no regulatory powers to say what you're doing is correct and what I did before was wrong.
Yeah, so I guess I'm stumped on that one.
Okay, that's fine. What we'll do is,
Yeah.
do you want to go through what you think is the best aspect of anarcho-capitalism? Because I've obviously cherry-picked the questions that I want, so I've kind of led you down this way. So I'll let you lead for the moment, and you can ask me questions or whatever.
So yeah, I guess I'll go into why I became anarcho-capitalist. For one, Tom Woods made me that way in Shinkillian, and I actually looked at like taxation and I said, "Holy crap, this is actually extortion. It's not just theft; it's extortion." And if you actually look at the democide rate, it's a lot more higher than the privatized murders.
Sure, I completely and utterly agree with you.
Yeah. So I see like companies. I see the free market as a better way, as like offering better services, like I guess firefighters, some instances police, not every single instance. Yeah, roads.
I completely agree with you. I do completely agree with you on all of those aspects. I do think a free market would be better than having a government control it. But the problem that I have with anarcho-capitalism is who regulates. Because it's fine having those instances in place, but then what you find is with America back in I think 1840s or the 1820s, they had lots of different private firefighters. And instead of the firefighters actually putting out the fires, they would fight between each other so that they could get the money to be able to put the fire out. So that's what I mean. Who regulates everything? Otherwise, they'd just be fighting over the actual products that they're trying to sell.
Well, no, that it wouldn't actually work like that. Say, if you saw like an ad of like two different firefighters, and you're not going to call both at the same time. That'd be I would consider that kind of a stupid move because there would be.
It depends. Say that you have a big bank. and you need to have at least 4 or 5 different fire engines to come out. Because it's not a nationalized fire service, they can't interact with each other. They have to negotiate who's going to be able to get what from what money from what contract, and how much that they're going to be able to do with work, and what the contract safety is going to be. And before they've even decided any of that for the coalition that they would have or form, then the building would have burnt down.
I, I would think the firefighters would actually say be worried about saving the life rather than
sure, the firefighters would. The firefighters would, but what about the people that own the company? The firefighters would. I'm not saying the firefighters wouldn't, but what about the people that own the company that want the money? And I'm not saying all capitalists are bad. I'm just saying that that's the way that they would see the business.
Yeah, so if they were to really think about it, they would say, holy crap, if we don't act now, then we're going to lose money.
Well, it depends. If you haven't got a contract put in place for being able to collaborate with different and other firefighters, for instance, or fire companies, then you wouldn't know what money you'd be making in the first place. I mean, the easiest way to work around this, I suppose, is trying to say that you would already have a pre-contract already set up. So I suppose you could do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because for your argument, you could quite easily say, well, the firefighters themselves are always going to be doing the job. So the problem lies in with the actual companies that they're working for. So the companies themselves, before the fire even breaks out, when they first start up a company, can already have a pre-arrangement or a prenup or whatever that's put into place so that they can actually, if they ever get called to the same area, who gets the rights and royalties for what area, and divide the city up like that. Mm-hmm. So that there could already be pre-contracts in place. But then again, who regulates the contract disputes after
that? Really, I guess no one's going to regulate. I mean, I guess you can have certain contract agreements, but they would be voluntary in a sense. So no, I guess if you really look at it, then I guess the customers are really regulating it because, well, again,
disputes. They would be able to regulate in who that they want to buy, sure.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't be able to regulate who is going to, say, for instance, that you have, I don't know, a ley line where you have a bakery on one side, and on the opposite side of a road, you have, I don't know, a school. And in between that line, you have a junction where you have one firefighter company looking after that side of the road and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Now, for whatever reason, they can quite easily squabble over who takes what side because they're on the same road. Who regulates that?
Yeah, so I guess, no one really regulates contracts from the way I see it.
Well, they do. That's one of the reasons why we have courts and justice and the enforcement of nations. That's the reason why we have forms and sovereignty, so the companies can't do that. But I'm not advocating for the idea of governments in themselves. I'm just saying that they do play a role in regulatory.
Oh, I'm talking about in Ancapistan. If we were in Ancapistan right now, you can write I guess you can make a contract, but it doesn't really mean anything. Say, if you break these rules, then I'm going to disassociate with you.
Sure, but that wouldn't go through the disputes of who's able to work on this side of the road or the opposite side of the road or this side of town and the other side of town. Because I could quite easily. The thing is with human nature, which is the same thing as I don't like anarcho-communism either, is sometimes, in my opinion, and I'm not saying you haven't thought about this, but in my opinion, some people don't think about the human nature aspect. See, I can have an agreement with you, a verbal agreement, a written agreement to say that I'm never going to come onto your land and I'm never going to steal anything. But I can. Regardless of if I've said I'm not going to do it, regardless if I wrote it down that I'm not going to do it, I can if I so choose to. Now, after all of that, who regulates the two beforehand, the verbal and the written? Because just because I've written it down, there's nobody to enforce that law besides you. And then we have the
Mhm.
problem at the beginning, as we said before.
Yeah, so I guess if you were, I guess if like too many problems were to occur with like firefighters like arguing, saying no, I get to like I get to like put out this house, and then they start like arguing, and then the house burns down anyways. So like, and if that's going to cause too many problems, I think they would be forced, not like aggression force, but if they want to like keep their company, then they would be forced to make an agreement if they really care about their company too much.
Sure, they could be forced, or the other company could be forced to take over the other company, or just make sure that the other company doesn't work anymore. There's lots of if and buts, but
Hmm.
the way that I'm trying to say is that who regulates the contracts that even if they do agree to have certain contracts, who regulates any of that? Because you could say that you could have them regulate it between themselves, that they both have forms of ombudsman, I suppose, if you know what that
Hmm.
is. Then you could have them sort of forms, but then who did the ombudsman go to get external powers? Because obviously we were talking before about hierarchies. Some people believe in having small elders or groups of people that have been slowly elected or whatever, or put forward. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to know where you yourself, where your level of authority comes from, and I need to do it in this way, where your authority comes from.
Yeah, so there's not. I guess there's not really going to be any authority, again, because it's going to be anarchist.
Mm,
But the closest thing to that is competition and the customers.
sure. Can I ask you a quick question?
That's going to be regulation. Well,
Sure.
my definition of regulation, because certain companies would have to be forced to change if they would want to keep their business.
Yeah, when he says forced, you mean forced by the regulatory market, as in the free
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
But the question that I would have to you is, what's your definition of anarcho, as in anarchy?
Without rulers,
So no
not.
rules whatsoever, because obviously different people have different definitions of hierarchies. Because some people believe in having some form of hierarchies, not governments.
Yeah. So my definition of anarchy, that was the Greek definition. I guess a voluntary society without like, one giant like rolling over like a country.
Mm,
So there would still be, I guess, bosses, but they can't like force their rules that break the non-aggression principle on you.
sure. I completely and utterly agree. I mean, I haven't gone into different aspects of, well, what happens if society in itself wants to form its own regulatory government? What happens then in the NAP society that you're creating? Are they allowed to do that? Are they kicked out? Are they forced out? Are they told that they can't do that if they wanted to form forms of government?
Yeah, so the thing is they would need like a certain amount of power, and to order to do that, I guess they would need to like make some brainwashing devices to make people like, I guess, give them money, and then yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
No,
Like the
no.
only way to get power is if you do what the customer says. And if
Mm,
you lose that trust with the customer, then you lose that power.
not always. I mean, you could have the idea of a feudal lord. Say, for instance, that you have the idea of a peasantry, as in farmers, for instance, but you have somebody that has more money because that they do all the trading for them, as in a mediator, so that they do the trading with external partners, so that they're getting most of the money and then distribute it back out again, as does happen in a free market. So
Mhm.
those people would end up having more money. So you could then have a feudal lord system that is then starting to spring up. What happens when that feudal lords want to take over other places? All that the idea seems to be doing is not necessarily taking us to I don't want to use the word utopian because I don't think that that's the way that you think, but I can't think of a better descriptive for it. So with that, I think that with the utopian idea that's coming through, and I don't mean that in a bad or negative way, it's just I can't think of a different descriptor. Because that's coming through, other people will always fight against it. People will always rebel against the society that's put into place. Because you can see the good in government, but you can also see the bad. I can see the good in capitalism completely, anarcho-capitalism, and I can see the bad in it. I'm going to rebel against the bad if that's a system that's put into place, because I'm going to think that my system's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess like you could try to like make a state and then force your justification on other people, but
No, that's not what I was meaning.
sorry. I think you cut out there a little bit and I misinterpret.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's not a problem. What my premise was basically that in a massive land, because obviously you're trying to say let's use United States as the process of what we're talking about, or Canada, or even United Kingdom, a biggish area.
Yeah.
With that area, you're going to have different forms and different groups that think differently. So naturally that they're going to be different offshoots of what capitalism is. They're going to be different offshoots of what social democracies are, or tyrannies, or totalitarianisms, or dictatorships, or forms of government. The thing is with human nature is that natural leaders will emerge, and those leaders will dictate to other people what they can and cannot do. What happens when they bring their ideology to you and they outnumber your ideology?
I guess so my answer would I guess I guess everybody will have like a certain amount of firearms, and I guess it's gonna be war if like an army decides to invade in Kapistan and take over the land. So
Question
yeah.
very quickly, because I kind of understand where you're going to go, and I just want to put a quick premise in here before we go down that rabbit hole. As you said before, with the form of governments, they will force you to enlist. Who's going to enforce the capitalists and anarcho-capitalists to enlist to defend their lands? What's going to stop the other anarcho-capitalists from expelling or joining the other system?
I guess nothing's gonna stop them unless they commit aggression against another, well, ancap.
Hmm.
So
No, that's fine.
yeah, so and with the whole war thing, I think some countries will realize, not every single one, but will realize that oh hell, everybody has helicopter. Well, this is not going to be true, but like there's too many like technologies, like too many advanced technologies to compete. Well, to go against in Kapistan.
Sure, but do remember that you're a trading nation. So what you make, you will trade with other places. So this tyranny would be able to buy off of you because you're not going to stop selling to them because you don't know that they're coming for you. So what you make yourselves will be used against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question would be, how would they get the money? Because they would need to, like, I guess,
The same way that you would. Just because they're in a governmental system or in a feudal system, they still trade. They still have
yeah,
money. It means that one person has more money than compared to the rest of the people.
But like, yeah, they can trade like certain items with me, but like, here's the thing. There's not, I don't think they have the ability to like get the money, well, from the private companies that are in Kapistan, and most people would want money rather than trade items.
Sure. But then you have the same thing of what happens with the rest of the world, where you had, I don't know, say Italy with its pesos that then needed to exchange its rate compared to the United Kingdom's pound sterling, or the pound sterling with the dollar, or the American dollar with the US dollar. Just because the currency is different doesn't mean that exchange rates wouldn't be met.
Yeah. So I'm stumped on that one also.
No problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
I apologize. So
No, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's just that these are the type of questions that I'd just like asking because I like
yeah.
the idea of anarcho-capitalism. I really do like the idea of it. I think it's a great way of living, being able to live by yourself and everything else like that. The only problem is other humans. And then when you have other humans that are put into the factor, things fuck up and they change.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing that I have. So you said before that you weren't interested. Oh, sorry, not interested. You didn't have the believability or the idea of going through prisons, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that we went through the punishment aspect, but say that I went off and I killed somebody. What would be my prison sentence, my justice, and who implements that justice?
Either I guess beforehand the victim, if he decides to like defend himself, like if he has a firearm, he or she, I should say.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so
What happens if I kill that person?
and I guess if people know about it, then they would. I guess certain people would fear for their own lives. Not like I guess they would hire a private investigator. Say, can you go investigate what happened here?
Fine, but
And then if like I guess if people know about it, then know who you are. I mean, never mind. If they don't know about it and they don't know what happened, they are gonna. Over time, I think certain friends of that certain victim will say, "Hey, what happened to so and so?" And then they
sure.
go over to his house, and then they find him dead, and they say, "Holy crap!" So I guess no
How
matter what,
carry on, carry on.
yeah. So I guess people are going to find about it, and I guess you're going to be found out too in a certain
Sure.
amount of time. So
But who's
this
going to
also what?
who's going to do anything about it? If I've killed you and I've killed one of your family members that knew that what was happening, and then I don't know, 2-3 days later somebody found your body, who's going to do anything about it? Because you can't then put aggression onto me because of the non-aggression principle because I killed somebody else, not you. So I'm not going after you.
Actually, no, that's not how it works. How the non-aggression principle works. If you see somebody committing unjustified aggression against another,
at the beginning. Notice what you said at the beginning. If you see,
yeah,
if you can prove it,
yeah. I think if you can't prove it, then I guess it's unjustified to commit aggression against you, even though if you did murder somebody. What?
Which means I get away with murder.
Yeah, which we already see in the state. Oh, well, we already see in not very often.
No, not very often.
Well, a lot of people go missing per year, especially
Sure,
children.
A lot of people go missing. Yeah, a lot of people go missing. Sure.
So there's a bunch of criminals out there that are getting away with well,
sure.
murder.
The point I was trying to make was even though the state system is not the best system for getting all of the criminals off of the street, if there's evidence, if there's ways of tracing down the evidence, and if there's a way of proving that you've done something, you will have a justice put on towards you. In your system, or the system that you've advocated for here, you have literally just said if nobody sees you committing the act, then you don't have aggression put towards you.
More specifically, if you can't prove it.
Yeah.
But like,
but how do you prove it? Because you don't have a police force.
I believe that there are going to be private investigators just in case like certain murders happen.
Okay.
So, and I do think I don't mean to sound utopic here, but I'm not really a utopian, by the way. I believe that there are still going to be some problems with the system, but I think it's going to be the best system that we can ever have. But yeah, I believe that the private investigators are going to do a better job than the public ones.
They may well do, but the problem is with the private investigators, who do they go to take their evidence? How do they prove that their evidence correct?
I guess with the certain technology that the FBI uses now. and certain tactics that the FBI uses.
Fine, but who decides that the other person is guilty or innocent? If
I guess.
If I've come up to you and say I've raped your daughter or I've raped your son or fucking whatever, but you have the DNA and you have everything else like that, and you're able to prove that it's basically me, what happens then? And who do you prove it to?
I guess I would have every justification to like rape you back or like take whatever, like take the I guess steal from you or something like that. I have the justification of raping you back, which I wouldn't really want to do that. So I say either.
Have you ever heard of the saying, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth makes us all blind and toothless?
No, I haven't.
Basically, that means if I keep on going after you to get revenge, and I go out and you go after me to get revenge, it will be a vicious cycle that will never end. That's the reason why we decided in our systems to be able to have a universal system with set rules and set regulations, as I said before, and a system that's put into place to prove that you are or you are not. Now, it doesn't always work, admittedly, it doesn't always work, but by far it is the best system that we have at the moment.
Yeah, I tend to see like the countries with the most like less regulations there are on firearms in the country, the more safer people are. If you really,
I agree. I completely agree. But the point that I'm trying to make is that if you take away every single regulation, then people will do what the fuck they want, regardless. And because there's no repercussions, people will still do what they want, regardless. And if it's a case of, well, I shoot you, so your brother's going to shoot me, I'm going to take that chance because all that is 2 or 3 people that I'm going to have to go against. Where if I've got a state that's against me because I've committed a crime against the state, then that state will eventually catch me or kill me if they know that I've done something or think I have. Where if I kill you because you think that I've done something, that's it, done, finished.
I guess that depends. Again, if you like kill me and my family, and I guess if I didn't make any friends at the time that come to my house, I guess, then then I guess I am finished and you're not going to be caught. But if I do make ties with certain people or hire private security or whatever,
sure,
then I guess ties with people are going to become worried. What happened to Gavin? And they're eventually going to come to my house and find my whole family dead.
As well, though, isn't it? Which means that everybody that's in that society, because we've had a misunderstanding and I've accidentally killed you or gone out of my way to kill you, then most of the society will be trying to kill and protect the other people. That's the reason why we have a police force, because we have dedicated people to go and do this, and why we have laws of vigilantism. I said that right, honest.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to get rid of police. I want to privatize police and change the way police act towards certain people, like victimless crimes or stopping you for no reason.
Sure, but that could also be put into regulatory powers into the state. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it would happen, but you could do that. The problem that I still have, regardless of if you take away the state, is a case of even if you have police forces, private security, national security, whatever, where do they go to get their regulatory power? Who regulates the regulators? And by that, who looks after the police? Say the police went out, your police, not national police, but your police went out and they had a problem with somebody that they didn't really like, and they, instead of enforcing the NAP, decided that they were going to beat somebody half to death. Who enforces the fact that that person did that?
Typically, I guess another private police company would say, hey, that's not wrong. And then they're going to get all the competitors together, say, if we work together, then we're going to get more money out of it to kill this, well, destroy this certain police force that is doing unjustified killings.
Sure. And do you know what I
So
could say is the police force that you would be collaborating against me? I could say that this is a case of that police force going against me because I'm taking over their turf and I'm doing a better job than what they are. And all this is a form of fabrication. Where's the evidence? You don't have any evidence to prove it.
yeah, if I don't have any evidence to prove it, then and people will see that, say, hey, they're unjustifiably killing, well, people in that business who did it. But like, here's the thing, right? If I do think with certain like private investigators, then they're going to be able to not all the time, obviously, but I guess most of the time find out who it is. Again, with the certain FBI or CIA technology that we already use.
Sure. Sure, but who prosecutes them? Who defends them? How do you have a trial to prove that you're innocent? How do you go to the point of innocent to proven guilty in your system?
Private court, again, you can't force somebody into court, but if like
and I don't want to go.
Then I guess.
Sorry, you led that there. I'm sorry, you led that there.
I guess I would try to convince everybody and show everybody the evidence, saying, "Hey, look, this is what your favorite company is doing," and actually show them the evidence.
Sure, but we're talking about individuals. We're talking about individuals, not companies.
Yeah. Well, the only way, like,
so
like the only way like businesses will exist is because, well, for one, you can have a nonprofit business, but like the only way, like, I guess the more money a business has, the more popular it is. So sure. I guess, so I guess I would try to like convince everybody that your police force is like doing wrong. And if sure. I become successful, they say, okay, I say I convinced everybody. So it's either you come to private court with me, or I get to, kill your police officers that killed that innocent person.
Fine. Well, I don't want to go to court, and I'm going to leave the area in which you're in. Are you going to force me to come back?
No, I'm not going to force you to come back. I mean,
so then I'm free to go. I've just got away with that murder because all I have to do is just move to somewhere else. Because I'm not being coerced to appear in court to defend my name, because I don't have to.
But I can force you to like pay what you took from that person.
No, you don't. Without a court system or without any sort of form of system.
If you decide, if you decide to move out of the land, I guess, then
no. Even if I was in the land, if that was the punishment, how do you enforce me paying you money? Because remember, you're not allowed to use forceful coercion. So you'd have to convince me and me to accept it. And if I don't accept it, how are you going to force me to do it?
Again, I showed everybody the evidence, and then I guess I can
do it. I just don't want to do it.
So I get to I get to like collab with the other police forces to take what you took from that innocent person.
So you're going to force violence and forcefully take things away from me.
Yeah, because you took something from that innocent person.
What's the difference from that and the state?
The state is a monopoly, and
sure, but you just turned yourselves into a corporation that's or collaboration that's now turned itself into a monopoly that's forcing me to do something.
I never said that we were gonna like make ourselves like one big business. I said we're gonna.
No. A collaboration doesn't mean that you all form into one great big business. It means you work together.
Yeah. No, I think other police forces would still say, hey, I don't want to deal with it right now. I'm busy or whatever. I still think that there are still going to be competitors out there. But if I decide to get as many like competitors as I can, say, hey, this will look good on your business if you help me fight this person.
I agree that will help get people onto your side to help defend you. But if I'm adamant that I am not giving you a cent or a penny, how do you get me to give you money without forceful coercion?
I guess the only way is to like say, if you won't give me money, then I'm just going to forcefully take it from you. So I guess there's no way to, like, if you refuse.
Exactly. There's no way for you if
so you still broke the nap though, and people will
and so have you.
No, I haven't.
At that point, if you forcefully take from me, you are breaking the non-aggressible principle.
No, because you broke the nap. You killed that person, like, first, actually, and I'm actually defending the lives of others. So that actually doesn't
others. Yeah, that's fine. You're defending the lives of others. But what happens if I say, well, I'm not going to go after anybody else's life, but you're forcefully going to take money off of me? You're going to forcefully take my property off of me, my livelihood off of me. How is that not against the nap?
No, it only breaks the nap if I, like, overdo it. Like, say, oh, if you're not gonna, like, if you're not gonna give me anything, I'm gonna kill you. That will break the nap, actually. But if I just,
I'm not gonna give you anything or let you have anything without you taking or walking over my dead body. We've got to that point. I'm willing to lay my life down for this principle. What happens now?
okay, I guess the only answer is just to if you're forcing me to, if you're, like, I guess, like, stopping me from taking back what you stole from another person,
which was their life, and you're taking property.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm taking, like, whatever it costs to, like, pay for that funeral or whatever.
Sure, so, but I don't want to pay the money, and I'm willing to lay my life down.
Yeah, I guess if the only way to get through you is killing you, then I would kill you, but I couldn't take the money from you. Which I guess it wouldn't matter at that point, because you would be dead.
Exactly. We completely and utterly destroyed the nap in that instance for that example.
Yeah, so.
But that's the point. That's where I was going. I wasn't trying to get you into where I got you or into sort of a position. I was trying to lead you down this way to be able to go to, well, my human nature will be that I will want to defend what I have and what I own with my life. How do you forcibly or coercively stop that? And the answer is you can't.
Yeah. Again, yep. I guess I'm stumped on that one also. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all.
Again, I'm still a newbie at, like, being an anarcho-capitalist.
I know you are.
But it's obvious. It's obvious.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going after you. You're still learning your trade and everything else like that. That's the reason why I wanted to put you through some of the harder questions.
Yeah. Which I actually thank you for that. I actually thank you for that. Like, no, thank you. Yeah.
No, that's not a problem. Well, we've been going for just under an hour, just about 50 minutes. Yeah. Would you like to ask me questions and go against any sort of form of ideology you think that I may have? So you can be on the offensive for a while.
So I guess, why do you think taxation is justified?
I don't.
Do you believe in, like, voluntary taxation?
I do believe in voluntary taxation, a form of charity, yes.
Do you believe, like, other companies could compete with the state?
I think that that would be the most beneficial because then it increases competition with the state, which makes the state better overall. And then because the state gets better, the private companies have to get better. If you have integration between the two ideologies, then both of them become better.
Ah, so okay, yeah. I actually think that that would be the best way of getting anarcho-capitalism. Say, if you degrade, like, if you compete with the state and you do a better job, then you can actually devolve the state to a point where it doesn't exist anymore, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Agorism.
Something similar to that, yes, I suppose.
So yeah, pretty much. So I'm guessing you agree with Ron Paul and everything he has to say.
Well, I'm not American, so you'd have to elaborate on that.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you're not American, but a lot of people in foreign countries seem to be interested in American politics, so I was just curious. But
I am.
Ron,
I just don't hang on every word that Ron Paul says.
yeah, I think Ron Paul like said that he wants like a voluntary like taxation. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I guess, but like yeah, he's a minarchist. He believes in very minimal government with like he totally believes in free markets, which I was actually thinking about voting for him if he ever runs again, which I hope he does.
See, I'm for a monarchy government. I don't like the idea of the state having absolute power. I think it should be a competition. I think it should be a struggle for both private businesses and for the state itself. The
Mm-hmm.
reason for that is because, as I said before, it will strengthen both the state and the private businesses,
Mm-hmm.
which is only beneficial for the actual people that use both.
Yeah, and I'm guessing how your like system works. Say if you don't pay taxes, then I'm not going to offer you the service, and then I would just say I'm just going to use the companies that are right there.
Sure. The good thing about the idea for me, anyway, about having joint state and joint privatization, say for instance, the NHS and hospitals. If I wanted to use the NHS, I could do. If I wanted to go off and get a massive operation and it was cheaper or quicker for me to go and get it in a privatized area, then I can go and do it. You can have the best of both worlds, but at the same time without the crap. Because if you have one or other systems, you have the crap that goes with it. If you have both, it streamlines the system because it has to, because competition.
Mm-hmm.
Because the NHS can't run on 4 or 5 hour waiting times and still expect people to pay voluntary tax for it if you have a private system that only has a 1 hour waiting time. It just will fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently people are annoyed by me in the comments or something.
Yeah, I told you not to look at the comments.
Guys, I'm just a newbie, okay? Maybe will you ever have a discussion with maybe I heard esoteric entity is pretty open. Well, I know he's pretty open. I talked with.
I have a discussion with anybody. I'm quite open to anybody.
Yeah, so I'm still learning about the ideology. So
Sure.
I know I'm just a newbie and stuff like that, and hopefully in the future I would actually come up with better answers than what I actually presented.
Well, that's the good thing about having this type of a conversation. It's not been a debate. It's not been hostile. It's been me asking questions and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can now watch this back and then not analyze everything that I've said, but you can analyze the ideas and where you want it to go forward for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not challenged, our ideas won't grow.
Yeah, echo chambers are terrible.
Yeah, exactly that.
Not terrible in the sense where if you hang out with a certain group of people that you agree with is bad, but like if you just hang out in there all day, then you're not going to grow.
Exactly. Your ideas are not going to grow because you're not challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way. That's the whole idea of a free market, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, pretty much, I guess we pretty much agree on a lot of things, just like certain things need to be, like, changed with you think, and certain things need to be changed with you, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, me personally, it comes to the point of human nature. Because human nature, people will always want to govern, and people will always want to be governed, and that's where a lot of people, with their ideologies, don't think about what other people would do. They naturally assume that people would think the way that they do. It's not a bad way of assuming things, because that's how we formulate our own ideas of how we think.
Yeah.
But we have to look at how other people will think.
Yeah. So I guess my friend is gonna call me after this live stream. You fucking idiot.
Oh, I'm not trying to say it's a debate or anything.
It's not a debate, don't worry. But like, there's a couple people that I'm friends with that are kind of like that, saying you should have said this. Which,
well, if you wanted to give the link out to them, then you're more than welcome to, because I'm more interested about the ideas. As I said to you before, I'm not interested in the got you. I'm not interested in trying to make you look stupid or anything like that, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to ascertain, where would you go with this hypothetical? Where would you go with this analogy? Where would you go with that aspect? Because that's what I'm interested in. Because if you're advocating for a system, then you should know all the ins and outs of that system. Or at least a fair amount of it. I'm not saying that you should have everything worked out, but a fair amount you should know.
Yeah. Which hopefully I can actually. I was thinking about like reading some libertarian ideology so I can get a better understanding.
Sure.
Too much time. So maybe you would like to do this again with one of my friends, because well, they're gonna think. My friend tends to think that he could do a better job than I can, which could be I think is true, but like,
sure, like
too
I said,
narcissistic.
I'm after the idea. I'm not after the confrontation. So if he wants to come in and talk about the ideas, then that's fine. If he's interested in confrontation, I've had enough of that.
He doesn't want to debate at all. He just wants to answer the same questions, like, in his own way.
If he's free now, he can more than welcome come on now.
All right.
You have the link, so you can pass it out if you want to.
Yeah.
Oh. So I've got to get challenged. 2-on-1, eh? 2-on-1. My missus would be happy. So what actually got you interested in anarcho-capitalism then? Was it the taxation aspect of it?
How the state, like, I just like see the state like is coercive. Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm talking to my friend.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. I was making a comment in the comment section because Voice of One is just a dick.
Calling me a furry. I'm not a furry.
No, it was more of the case of the only book that you need to read about ruling a country is Mein Kampf. And yes, Voice, I do love you too, you hyper asshole. I'm just gonna go with that. Asshole. Yeah. Yeah, did you say that he was watching, so he'd probably be interested? Or do you want me to have somebody else in as well and have a 2-on-1 type of thing? Or what sort of thing would you like to do? Because I'm quite open. I've got enough time at the minute. Probably got about another hour. Yeah, I got about another hour. So I now turned on my light on my phone because I'm amazing. So somebody's already said that they would come in and be my second, so we could do a 2-on-1 if 2-on-2 if you wanted, or do whatever. It's up to you. I'm not bothered. If your friend turns up, obviously.
Fine, I'm a furry, Bonnie.
Yes. Hey, I never said I was into gangbangs. I just like a threesome.
I saw the comment.
I told you my chats are assholes.
Yeah. I mean, the whole politics aspect is pretty ashole. especially like the further radical you go.
Sure.
I
No,
mean,
I think
I met a lot of communists.
the polarizations on all sides is just amazing at this minute in time. Everybody seems to be entrenching into their ideology.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's a left turn, Bonnie, or is it a right turn? What avenue are we going down?
Oh,
I'm not sure Queen Bee actually would accept that. I'm not sure she would consent.
yeah. So maybe we could do this next. Excuse me. Next week.
Sure.
Well, with one of my friends. I guess I'm not going to be in there, but like, or maybe I can get Esoteric Entity to join.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine with me. Like I said, anything will do.
Yeah. So, I guess I guess I'm done here.
Okay, if that's fine. I'm going to invite somebody else in. We're going to have a little bit of chat about what's happened and what's gone on. You're more than welcome to stay in the chat if you want to.
All right. Hold on. Maybe I'm gonna ask Eso if he wants to join.
Okay, no problem. I need backup. Backup, everybody. Backup. Backup. Sorry, I'm really a child.
Oh, I am too. I'm 18, so.
You are a child. Yeah. God damn it. Mr. Jensen Quinn, I'm going to send you a link on Twitter. Don't share it with people. I know you won't, but don't share it with people. I don't need people coming on and shouting at people.
That'd be a disaster if you like gave the link to everybody in the server. Or not server.
I accidentally did that when I was talking to a person who was advocating for the state to look after children.
Oof.
And let's just say that I accidentally sent it out to the wrong place. And yeah, everybody just piled in. So that went well. Thanks, voice. Yeah, put it in Discord. Yeah, I won't tell. Well done. Were you able to get a hold of SO at all?
I think he's busy at the moment, but
no, that's fair enough. That's fair
yeah.
enough. Yeah, if you wanted to get yourself off, mate, you're more than welcome to. I can then do a kind of a little bit of a show and just carry on for the next sort of half hour. So if you wanted to get off, mate, you're more than welcome to.
All right. Sorry that I made myself look stupid.
No, you didn't. It's a case of learning, my friend. Don't think that you made yourself look stupid. You were challenged on your ideas and you didn't back down and you haven't run away. So you're able to learn from this experience. That's all that matters, mate.
Well,
hello, everybody.
You.
Hello, Mr. Quinn. Okay, what's going on? Oh, he's gone. Right. Hello, Mr. Quinn. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'd love to try and argue his side, but unfortunately, I don't agree with him purely for the simple fact that the moment you put anarcho into any form of government, and I do understand that the concept with the anarcho is the lack of government, but a lack of government in a society like ours will never work purely because humanity needs leaders, because like you said, otherwise it gets to the point of, well, I'm going to do what I want. Well, I don't want you to. I don't care what you want. What are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing, because I've got a non-aggression treaty with you.
Exactly that. To be fair, I found it quite interesting. I did actually find it interesting talk, to be fair. It kind of, for me, goes into the idea of thinking that you want something that's going to be good. It's like, I don't want to use child because it's the wrong type of word, but it's that type of ideology, is that kind of thinking that once this is implemented, everything will be fine. Wishful thinking. That's what I'm thinking of. Wishful thinking.
You could always change it for the word naive. Unfortunately, that does have connotations that could be looked at as bad. But naivety is not necessarily always a bad thing.
Naivete. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm being all poncy.
Naivete. No, I find these conversations very, very interesting, and I thought I'd get you on as well because Channel died last night.
Yeah. What did they say? I'm dying to know. Come on.
Oh, it went really well. They didn't say anything. They really didn't say anything. I didn't say anything at all. Though apparently I've got all of my copyright strikes back. So when I was checking my emails to what was going on and whatnot, every single copyright claim that I've ever had all come back within 20 minutes of each other.
Wow, they don't like you.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Apparently not. No,
Oh dear.
they don't like me. They don't like me at all. But no, well, you got in touch with me straight away, but I didn't even know what happened until you got in touch with me, to be fair.
Yeah, I was checking it out because I knew this was on. I wanted to make sure I had a rough idea of what time it was going to be on, and it's coming up. This channel has been terminated.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, yeah, this is a joke. Oh God, this isn't a joke. Straight away started messaging you, you know.
Yeah, no. And this is the email that I actually got that tells me what happened. Hopefully everybody can see that.
Yep.
So, yeah, your Google account is disabled. That's what I got at, oh, what fucking time was it? 19 hours ago, 1:03. So just so everybody can actually see that this is actually what happened, the Google account and the Common Sense guy, but obviously my email address, is now disabled. Oh, why? No reason whatsoever. It looks like it was being used in a way that violated Google's policy. It looks like.
Yeah, that's their pretty much standardized excuse if they've done something and yet will allow them to change whatever is needed just in case you try and get lippy with them. Because after all, they are apparently our overlords.
Oh, they definitely are. I had to pucker up and I had to spread, and yeah, it was really painful.
Oh,
I didn't do any of that, by the way. I didn't do any of that. I never would, honest. Oh.
Yes.
We understand your account is important to you. So if you think this was a mistake, sign into the disabled account and submit a request to restore it. You need to do this soon because disabled accounts are eventually deleted along with your emails, contacts, photos, and other data stored with Google. So yeah, that went well. That went really well.
At least you got it back, mate. That was the bit that was worrying me.
I honestly did not think that I was going to get it back. I thought, it's gone. I was getting ready to retire. I was going to be happy, honest. It went well.
Well, just so it's absolutely clear, if ever they pull this crap on you again, especially in a situation where you've got an arranged meeting with somebody to do stuff, if you ever need to use my account, mate, you just let me know and then tell me how I can make sure that you can do that.
No, I'll just tell them to fuck off.
There's that, so.
At the bottom, down here on April 5th, blah, 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 that bit there, is the email that I sent to them to, well, I think was able to get my account back, though I do know, and thank you very much on Twitter. I won't be able to name everybody that was able to help me, but DarkCon was able to help me. S-Man took on a live stream with me as well to explain my situation. Don from Two Plebs was able to help me quite a bit. Ogre was able to write a letter for me as well and send it in as an email. So a lot of people had my back. Oh, and the Britisher as well. I can't forget the Britisher. He retweeted one of my tweets as well, saying about the account and asked YouTube to help as well. So thank you very much for that, guys. I really do appreciate all of the help, especially with people that I've lost contact with as well.
Oh, that is awesome. Same. Thank you very much for helping him out, guys. It's really cool of you.
Yeah, I really do. I really am appreciative of that. But let's get to the groveling. Because that's what you all want to see, isn't it? That's what we all want to see. I have no idea why I was suspended, as no information was forthcoming. I have no strikes of any kind. No channel-ending content. If I do, I could delete it if I was told what it was. Rather than just deleting my channel. If I have broken terms of service, I would like to know what they are and how I have done this. With no question mark, because I'm a retard.
Yeah.
Please, any help would be, well, most helpful. I am obviously willing to do my part to get my channel back. And yes, I was able to meet a couple of people. And this was the response that I got around about 5 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep at this point in time. So when I woke up, I did have an amazing surprise. And no, it wasn't morning wood. So, hello, we have reviewed the circumstances of your suspension and, surprisingly, have concluded it is appropriate to reinstate your account. This means your account is once again active and operational. And if you've forgotten your password, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's somehow the way that I was able to get my channel back, with the help of you guys as well. What I did, Sharati, was that video. Do you remember the taking the piss out of the human flesh eating lizard monsters, moon people? I don't know. I lose fucking track. But apparently that was enough to completely and utterly nuke my channel for around about 4 hours, 5 hours. So that went well.
Yeah. I personally, I suspect. Okay, this is obviously just guesswork on my part, but I suspect it was because of the suggesting of
Don't say it. I
the
know what
things. Yes, for that part of it, I don't think it was necessarily the cannibalism part. Which, if you think about it, it kind of says it all, really.
Careful.
Oh no, I'm being very, very careful. Now, if YouTube wants to come after anybody for anything I say, they can come after me. Let's see how much I don't care.
But I do.
Which is why I'm making it absolutely clear
No,
to
I meant
any
if they come
different...
after you, you dickhead.
Yeah, no one gives a crap about me. What are you talking about?
I do. I bloody do. That's why I have you on all the time, you arsehole.
Yeah, fair play, sir. And thank you for this. As ever, though, you know, if like when your man, the fox, actually decides to bring a friend to help him out, if you would like me there, I am more than happy to, sir. Just let me know, you know.
I'll be really honest. I'll be really, really honest. It's not because I don't think that you could hold your own. I'm sure you can, and I've known that you can. I just think it'd be more funny two ancaps on one person that's not an ancap. I just think it'd be more funny.
2 ancaps, 1 cup. Sorry, I shouldn't say words like that.
Hey,
very naughty.
2 ancaps, 1 cat.
Sorry, yes.
Thank you.
That's just a disturbing image you don't need, isn't it?
Well, meow. I'm just going to make a couple of announcements for what the channel is going to be going into, because I've had the shit scared out of me. And then, no, I'm joking. I'm going to be doing a black nationalist video about how that they do not like race mixing on Monday, because I've obviously learnt my lesson. And on Tuesday, we're going to have Charity Croft back, as well as another channel that does not believe in going with mixed race people because they've got too much white in them. And no, I'm not paraphrasing. That will be Tuesday's video.
Cool.
I haven't got as far as Wednesday yet. I'll let you know if I find more crap that I can find. Though I have found a hell of a lot of religious stuff. So there might be some of the stuff on that as well. I don't mean religious as in, oh, people shouldn't be God-fearing. It's the stupid shit that they say.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, I'm not bothered about if people believe in God or not. I mean, I was with Ogre. Yeah, no, it was a relationship.
Mm.
Yeah, it was a relationship. I
Yeah,
was
that
with
is
Ogre.
true, actually.
Yeah, I was with Ogre for about 2 years, so I really don't care about what people's beliefs are. And by that, I don't mean I don't care what you think. I mean I don't care about them. They don't define you. I'm not going to go because of your belief system. I'm going to go after you because of the stupid shit you say. And by after YouTube, I don't mean physically going after them. I mean I'm going to hysterically take the mickey out of them. But don't ban me, please. Please don't ban me. So those are the 2 videos that I'll be doing on Monday and Tuesday. I've got a couple of others that I'm interested in doing. There's one video which is to do with a religious lady that is talking about the measles outbreak and the anti-vaxxers. Now, I don't care, right? I don't care in essence if you don't want to vaccinate your kids. I don't care. I think you're a fucking idiot. I think you're a fucking idiot for it, but I don't care. The aspects that I care about in that video for Wednesday is the fact that because the government, because of the outbreaks that were going on, where I think around about 30 something people have died just in this particular state alone. I think it was New York State, possibly.
Yeah, I've heard similar about New York.
Yeah. She's literally saying that it's a government plot to tell people what to do, which is basically saying the government saying that anybody that's not vaxxed, we're going to make sure that you're not in the middle of town where you can get the measles because you're not vaxxed. Don't get me wrong, I don't like the government interfering in people, but if you're too fucking stupid to realize that measles can kill, make you blind, give you brain damage, as well as other minor incidents and circumstances as well, then sometimes you need people to step in to stop your own stupidity from killing you.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was the debate basically that we had today with Mr. Fox.
Well, I actually genuinely hope he comes back after, and I mean this with no offense to him, but after learning more about the outlook he actually hopes the world would become. Once he's actually got a greater knowledge of it, who knows? Perhaps he'll actually make more sense. And I realize how rude that sounds, but I don't mean it in a nasty manner.
Well, again, I don't mean this in a horrible way to Mr. Fox. I don't mean it in a horrible way. Yes, you are, Shirati. You are apparently too mean, hence why you're not allowed on. Because I know you just want to rip the shit out of him. Where, personally, I just think he's a youngish lad that's trying to understand the world around him. And personally, from my own experience, if somebody comes at me with a shouty voice and I embarrass him or they do whatever or somebody else does it, it only makes them more galvanized to the position that they hold rather than learning about what the position is and other people's positions. The more that we try to push our own narratives onto other people, the more galvanized the other people are on their own narratives. We need discussion and discourse, not shouting matches. And I don't think Shirati would shout. It's just that sort of instance. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah. Though I still really want you to get Shirati on with that Dix guy, because that would just be 20 minutes of highly entertaining, her shrieking and him whimpering.
Depending if I can arrange it, not for Shirati. I might be having him on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Because obviously he's a big advocate for socialism.
Yeah, yes.
And don't get me wrong, he's not an ancom because I can't find an ancom that's willing to come on with me. I've had a couple of talks with a couple of them and they've decided, should I say, that it wasn't good. It wasn't in their interest to come on. But he's very interested in talking about socialism and the EU and so on and so forth. So that should be interesting. But that's if I can arrange it.
Well, that would be awesome, in all fairness. I mean, I can honestly say, and I'm trying to word this very, very carefully, shows with him on are of most interesting outlook, and it's quite entertaining watching Sharati's head be 2 steps away from exploding after about 10 seconds of listening to it.
It wasn't as bad as mine on the last one.
Oh, well, no, true.
It wasn't. I don't normally lose my cool. Not normally, apart from if somebody decides that they're going to call me racist at the end of the stream, or hoodwinks me into the idea of using tabs as a part of a debate tactic.
Yeah,
I don't normally lose my rag, but that was one of them. But my hair was a complete mess. My hair was a complete mess.
That's the important thing.
It was. It really was.
Got to look good, dude.
I've got an image to look after, ain't I, mate? Well, an image to look after.
It's all about style.
Well, if it was all about style, I wouldn't be wearing this as a t-shirt, and I wouldn't have hair that looks like Hitler Youth.
Oh dear, oh Lord.
What can I say?
Good description, but
well, I mean, I could just do that and go, "Well, no, I'm not Hitler."
just don't hold your finger under your nose for any major length of time. It might get people giving funny ideas.
But wasn't he this high and wasn't he over there?
Well,
oh, sorry.
The main thing is
that way.
Yes, that's better. The main thing is you got your channel back.
For the moment.
That was the bit I was actually most concerned about, mate. It really was. And again, thank you to all of the people that helped you get it back, because like it or not, we actually like your shows, dude. We really do. That's why we turn up every time.
Some people do. A lot of people don't, but some people do. To be fair, I quite liked that video. The video with the human flesh is probably something that I'm going to try and look to more of the crazier conspiracy theories. I'm probably going to look to that a little bit more as well, and just do some more satirical stuff, because I find it funny. I'm not that bad at it, if I do say so myself.
No, actually, like I say, that vid yesterday was actually highly entertaining. I mean, the people that were speaking on it just left me scratching my head trying to work out how are these people actually allowed to breathe oxygen. I mean, seriously. But the way you okay, fuck it, I'm going to say it. The way you took the piss out of them was just glorious. It really was.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It's most appreciative. Most appreciative. Brexit, what a load of shit. That being said, I'm going to get myself off. Do you have anything that you wanted to plug, like a Mad Dodge stream that you're going to be on?
Well, I won't necessarily plug it as a Mad Dodge thing, but next Friday, you might want to actually be around to listen to his show, because we're doing another What If. Now, if you remember last time we done, we're doing another one, and this one could be interesting. I don't want to give too much info away, but it might be worth
give a little bit. Give us a hint. Give us a hint.
Okay, all right. As you know, World War II didn't necessarily need to happen quite the way it did. After all, Germany and Britain were sort of friendly up until the moment Germany, did its little thing with Poland. Now imagine a world where Britain joined Germany.
Interesting. I mean, that's not really a hint, though. You kind of gave the story away.
Oh, well, yeah. But in all fairness, you've got the basic idea now, and it's going to be interesting to see, because I'm hoping we can get MC and Farty on again. And, after an hour, open it up and let everyone come on and start shrieking at us and calling us all sort of names. Because,
it depends if you get your history right. I mean, I'm not saying you yourself, but England and France especially were not on good terms at all with Germany. It's just the fact that they did not want to go to war. They weren't on good terms. They were vetoing them and sanctioning them left and right. They were taking them to European courts quite regularly.
True, true. I'm actually working on the idea of, because one of the original plans with Germany was they were the fatherland, we were the motherland. Now imagine if those two forces came together.
Literally
Yeah.
came together. Now all you have to think of, who's going to be the southern land? Oh shit, gave that away.
Well, in all fairness, right back at the beginning of the war, Russia was actually friendly with the German. Well, I say friendly, weren't necessarily unfriendly with them. So we're going to have the. Go on, sir.
I was going to say, it wasn't a case that they were friendly or unfriendly, because you have to remember that Nazi ideology was completely against the idea of communism, and Stalin knew that they were completely against the idea of communism. But instead of fighting against the Nazis, they decided to make a pact with them to go, well, you can have this part of the land as long as we can have that part of the land.
Yep. No. I completely agree. Like I say, that's what Friday's show is going to be about. It'd be nice to see you there, just to see you give your opinion.
I don't have an opinion. I have a fact-based terminology. No, I'm joking. I don't. I really don't. Please fact check me on everything I say, because I'm just a man. Sometimes.
Well, you're a cat controlling a man. It's similar, but I get the idea.
Well, you know, I tried to make sure that the cat's not really at the head of the channel anymore. I feel that the cat aspect doesn't really deal with the humanoid politics machine that's going on at the minute. Or rather...
That's much better. But that's pretty much all I'd want to shill, but thank you for that, sir.
Yeah, not a problem. Right, ladies and gents, I know that there's a couple of people that are just turning up for some reason, and I can see that you're there. But yeah, unfortunately, the anarcho-capitalism discussion has capitulated for whatever reason, though I do advise you to watch the video back. It was a very, very interesting talk and a very, very interesting exchange of ideas. With that being said, sorry, Mr. Doku, but you're going to have to watch the stream back again. See you guys later, not unless Mr. Quinn has anything else to add.
No, I'm good, sir. Thank you.
With that being said,